American family, welcome back to my channel. Right now I'm looking like I got glaze on my face from a Krispy Kreme donut because I'm sweating. For you guys today, I have a fall decor DIY video using Dollar Tree products, and I'm keeping with a neutral fall decor color scheme. Lately I've been really into that. Usually I decorate with the typical fall colors like orange and red, but I've been really wanting to do something that had a neutral look to it. So in this video I'm going to show you a few of the DIYs that I made, which are behind me. Oh my gosh, look at them. This is gorgeous. Like, you cannot tell this is Dollar Tree products. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you do, please give it a thumbs up. Let's see if we can get this video to 5,000 likes. If we can get it to 5,000 likes, I will do another fall decor DIY video for you guys within the next week. So basically, if we can get this to 5,000 likes, I'm going to give it like 4 days. The next week for sure, another fall decor DIY neutral look. Also, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and make sure you click that bell button so you're notified every single time that I upload. With that being said, let's begin the video. And somebody come fix my AC. My landlord stinks. He needs to fix this AC. It's getting ridiculous. That's why I really want fall to come. Okay, enough. Let's begin.
Let's start with the Topiary. From Dollar Tree, you want to pick up some of their foam balls. I suggest getting foam balls over the styrofoam crafting balls because these are much bigger and they're going to make the Topiary look so much better instead of a tiny little thing. Now, what you want to do is you want to paint these green, and I highly recommend doing this because you're going to have spaces where moss isn't going to be covering up the balls entirely, and you really don't want any color but green peeking through, otherwise it's just going to look odd. You'll have to do a couple layers of green paint, and I recommend using a sponge to paint the ball, and it's best to stipple that color on. So basically, I mean bounce your sponge onto the ball to paint it that way, because if you use a paintbrush and you're just smearing the paint all around, it's going to take much longer to get it to be that opaque color that you need it to be. One more thing, I suggest getting 2 different size balls, one that is bigger and one that is smaller, so the topiary looks more uniform that way. You can do 2 of them the same size if you want to. I just think it looks better when one is smaller and one is bigger. Now, to cover this up in moss, I'm just using Dollar Tree moss. They have 2 different types, floral moss and reindeer moss. The floral moss I think looks better. It's greener and just the texture of it is easier to work with when it comes to covering up all of these balls. I'm going to keep saying balls over and over again. To glue the moss, I'm just using hot glue because it dries quickly. To actually make this a topiary, you're going to need something to stick through the balls. I'm using these wooden dowels that I got from Walmart for 97 cents. So they're still going to cost you the same they would at Dollar Tree. The difference is the Dollar Tree ones are way too small. They're not going to work for this. I went ahead and I painted the dowel because I didn't like the unfinished wood color. You can paint it whatever color you like. Now you need something sharp to poke a hole through the balls so that you can put the dowel through it. So the bigger one, you want to make 2 holes in it so that the dowel goes completely through that ball, and then the smaller ball, you just want to make 1 hole and then you put that on the top of the dowel. Now treat this like you're a landscaper. Get a pair of scissors and cut any excess moss. This makes this look more polished instead of a bunch of moss just kind of dangling off of it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some stones from Dollar Tree, Floral Foam, and then one of their pots. I got this nice neutral color, and then I'm just going to use that to make the topiary stand up straight. So I put the foam at the bottom, that way the dowel has something to hold it straight up, and then I put the rocks around it, which will help secure it in place. You might end up having to cut down foam to get it to fit perfectly. And that's how you make the topiary. Super simple, and it looks really nice. Now moving on to this tier tray. From Dollar Tree, you want to pick up one of their pie pans and one of the cake pans. They're both different sizes. You'll also want to get one of their candlesticks. Doesn't matter which one, I'm using these kind. And then you're going to want to get some nautical rope. Now what I'm doing is I'm taking nautical rope and I'm wrapping it around the cake pans. I'm using a hot glue gun to do this because it dries quickly and it's just so easy to work with. Now for every layer of rope, I go ahead and cut the rope. I don't want to use one long piece of rope and then wrap it around, because if I do that, it's not going to be straight layers of rope. It's going to start going down in an angle. It took 4 layers of rope for each pan to get it covered the way that I wanted it to be. Now I'm going to paint the pans, and to do this I'm just using Ivory chalk paint. Now you might want to paint this beforehand, before applying the rope. I just didn't do that because I didn't know exactly how I wanted this to look. Now you're gonna have to do multiple layers of chalk paint if you're using a light color like I did, because the pan is so dark itself. You're also going to want to paint the candlestick, and you can see my candlestick is already like a gray color. That's because I'm reusing a candlestick that I used in another project. Now all you have to do is glue the bottom of the candlestick to the middle of the pie pan, and then you glue the cake pan on top of the candlestick, and then you have a tiered tray. To fill this up, I'm just using reindeer moss from Dollar Tree and then putting in white pumpkins. Now Dollar Tree does carry nice white pumpkins, but I don't like the top of them, so I took the top of some of the green pumpkins Dollar Tree carries and switched them over to the white pumpkin so they have a gold top. Looks really pretty this way. You can always spray paint it or paint it gold. I just had these pumpkins on hand and just switched them around. Now you're finished with the tier tray. Now moving on to this pretty piece of wall art. From Dollar Tree, you want to pick up some of their 5x7 picture frames. They have ones that have this wooden appearance to them, and they come in 4 different colors. I got the darkest wood one that they have. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill these picture frames with some wood paper, and what I mean by that is just like activity cardstock paper. This one is from Dollar Tree. There's 3 different designs in there, but I'm using the whitewood one. I'm taking that and just putting it inside of the picture frame and then putting the contents, like the backing of the picture frame, back in. I do take off the little stand that is behind the picture frame because I want it to lie nice and flat against my wall. Now what you'll do is you'll glue your picture frames together. I'm using 6, you can use more if you want to. I'm using a hot glue gun to glue them together, and I'm also using popsicle sticks. I'm placing them anywhere 2 picture frames meet, just on the back of them, and that will help just give this a little bit more stability to it, keep all the picture frames in place and stop it from kind of like bending backwards if it's too flimsy. You can always use foam board, but I find the popsicle sticks are way better than the foam board. Now I want to put a wreath on this, so I'm just getting this styrofoam wreath from Dollar Tree and then putting the floral moss on top of it. Now I do use a scissor to cut the floral moss so that it's very fine. This just makes it so that the wreath isn't like shedding everywhere, just because it gets really annoying when it sheds everywhere when there's like too much moss. It just makes it much more easy to glue to the wreath. Now you'll also want to use a scissor after you've got all of the moss on to do the whole landscaping thing again, to make this look more polished rather than a bunch of moss going every which way, and it just takes away from the overall vibe of the wreath. Now Dollar Tree carries these metal words. They have them in 3 different sayings: thankful, harvest, and welcome. I'm going to be using harvest, and all I do is just glue that to the middle of the wreath, and then I glue the wreath to the picture frames. Again, I just used hot glue for everything. It holds it up, which is fine with me. Now that's it for this wall art. Now moving on to these candlesticks, which I'm using to hold some pumpkins. Now I actually am reusing some of these that I made previously, but I'm going to show you how I initially made them. I got these pillars from Dollar Tree and I painted them with an antique white and Territorial beige paint from Apple Barrel. I pour each paint side by side and dip my brush into the paint, which is a makeup sponge, not an actual brush. And that way when I'm painting whatever surface it is that I'm painting, I'm getting a little bit of one paint more in an area and then a little bit of the other paint more in a different area. This just brings a lot of dimension to it rather than just one flat color. It makes it look a little bit more aged. I'm not the biggest fan of a flat color when it comes to this. And if you want to make it taller, obviously you just have to glue multiple pillars onto each other. Now I wanted to create a cool design with this, so I got these self-adhesive stencils from Dollar Tree, and I keep saying from Dollar Tree, but I feel like sometimes when I don't say it, people think I got it somewhere else, so I think that's why I repeat from Dollar Tree a lot. Anyways, I cut it up so that it can fit the bottom of the pillar as well as the top, and then I go ahead and I start painting in those designs. Now the stencils work very, very well. The paints that I mixed together for this are taupe and white. I use more white than anything else because I wanted that color that the design was going to make to be lighter than the rest of the candlestick. You can always make it darker, it's just about personal preference. These things are easy to peel off and reuse, so make sure you save them. Like I said, I painted the bottom with these stencils as well as the top. I am not worried about making it perfect. If it looks a little rough in some edges, I don't really care about that. I think it adds to the character of this. And now on the edges of the top, I did take the stencils and then, I try to stencil in as much as I can. Obviously, I'm not going to get the whole design because it's not large enough of an area, but I did what I could. Now the final thing I did was add some nautical rope to the middle of each pillar. Super easy to do. And that's it. Honestly, these are all so easy to do. And what I love about them is they're not like some tiny little decorations. They're all big enough that they can decorate a big portion of whatever it might be in your house. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. Again, I will see you guys next time. Take care. Bye.